Today we are going over thick hair and some layering techniques and things that may be helpful to you when you are getting your hair cut. Now, the one thing I always tell people, and I know a lot of viewers and people who watch my videos, they always want to know specific things as far as the haircut goes, when in reality, the person who's cutting your hair should know all these things. Now, yes, I may be at a more advanced level or have more experience than some people, that's fine. And if they don't know it, it's up to them to educate themselves. However, by the things that I go over sometimes, you can't automatically assume that the person cutting your hair knows how to do these things or is going to do them on your haircut. And for you to then translate that and communicate that to the person cutting your hair could be somewhat of a challenge, because the stylist or barber may get a little taken back and, oh, don't tell me how to cut your hair, and sometimes that becomes an issue. So this video today, yes, it's going to be a bit more of a technical video, but the goal is to help you as the client or even professional understand what doing certain things to the hair will do, okay? So it's going to be kind of like almost like a hair cutting class. So with thick hair, right? I know a lot of you with thick hair, and it doesn't matter, any human being who's got thick hair, a lot of times have the same issues where they feel like, oh, my hair is so heavy, it just falls flat, it's hard to manage, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. So having a lot of hair, or having super thick hair, usually means that it's going to feel heavier on your head. It's like lifting a 10-pound dumbbell compared to like a 5-pound dumbbell. It's just, there's more dumbbell, it's heavier. So that's the same thing with hair. And a lot of times on thicker hair, what happens is you get very frustrated because it just weighs everything down. You're not getting a lot of body out of it. You're not getting a lot of lift. And there's all sorts of techniques and tricks. Now, when it comes to layering, okay, I know layering has been very popular. I mean, here on my YouTube channel, I'm seeing that I think you as clients are starting to finally catch on and understand the importance of layering and what it really means. But layering simply is a technique. Layering is a technique. Now, a layered shag or a layered bob or a layered feathered haircut, those are names of haircuts and looks. But the actual word layer or layering is a technique, okay? So when you're layering on clothes, you put an undershirt on, you put a button-down shirt on, you put a jacket, then a coat over that. I mean, you're layering things on. Then when you take those layers off, you're removing that weight. So that's what layering is. It's a technique designed to remove weight. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So on thicker hair, if you layer it, you will remove a lot of weight and the hair will feel lighter. However, if you get layers in your hair, just keep in mind what's going to happen is you're going to see shorter lengths throughout the entire head, like different lengths coming out this way. If you have a one length haircut and your hair is thick, that is when it's going to be at its heaviest and it's going to lay its flattest. It's not going to have any movement to it. It's just going to fall flat all the time, especially if your hair is like this length, right? Or down to the nose, or even past that. It's going to want to just collapse and fall down flat because it's so heavy and the hair's so thick. So, layering is a technique that's designed to remove hair. Who should get a layered haircut? Well, any person who wants to have movement in their hair, wants to see some sort of like flow, some sort of feathering to the hair, someone who wants to, have more movement, remove some weight, be able to see maybe flips and pieces in your hair that are kind of sticking up or sticking out, and you can feather your hair back like this and it all just falls into place. That's what layering does. It creates layers, different outfits on your head. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers, all right? That's what really it's doing. The technique itself can be done in a variety of different ways, all right? So let's just say I'm going to take a section of hair like so, and I am going to comb it straight up like this. Let's see what I can do here to get a little bit closer. I'm going to hold the hair straight up like this. If I were to take this hair like this, and I were to cut this whole piece off, I'm not going to do it, but if I were to cut this whole piece off right here, I would be creating a layer because this would then fall on top of this, which obviously means now we have a layer or a ledge or a step, whatever. If I were to take all of this hair and then cut it all to this one point right here, this one piece, and cut it off like that and bring everything up, then we're actually creating a layered type of look. You can do it horizontally, meaning up and down and straight across this way. This to me is the easiest to do at home because when you're layering at home, you're able to pull everything straight up and see what's happening up there. It's a lot harder to do yourself when you're trying to pull the hair out from the head in a vertical manner like this and then cut it behind your head this way. So cutting vertically is very, very difficult. That's why everyone wants to know how to cut hair at home on yourself, but it's not the easiest, especially when it comes to layering. So what I like to do, and this is very important when you're cutting hair, is to make sure that that first layer right here, or wherever the layers start, that everything connects into this. The worst thing you can do, unless that's the type of haircut you want, is when you cut this really short and this is really long. It's very, very, very unbalanced. And that just simply is from poor hair cutting or bad hair cutting. The person does not understand how to create a balanced layered shape on the head. What you want to do is have a seamless flow and connection and shape. Usually what I will do is I'll keep this balanced with this. As you can see, even from here, all of this is pretty much the same length, okay? This is slightly longer actually because this is where the round of the head is, but in reality, excuse me, in reality, this may be slightly longer because of the head shape and the roundness here, you know, and then this is at the perfect length for where it needs to be right here, okay? So, when you continue to layer the shape, what's going to happen is you're going to cut shorter pieces in this area of the head and wherever else you layer it. Layering is going to remove all this weight in through here. So if you're somebody who basically wants to have that freedom back here where you can run your fingers through it and it has nice shape, nice movement, you can see the pieces coming in, then a layered haircut is what you want to go for. And what do you say to your barber? What do you say to your stylist? Just say to them, I would like a layered haircut because my hair is, you know, pretty heavy. It gets pretty thick, but I do like to have, you know, the feathered kind of look where I can just run my fingers through it. Or you can say I just want a nice layered balanced haircut where, you know, the top is a little bit longer, blends into the sides and the back. You know, I don't want a buzz cut. I don't want to use clippers on the sides. You want to have the length to where it's about maybe an inch, inch and a half, you know, 2 inches throughout the sides here. You can still see the feathered, so maybe take a half an inch off, clean it up. You could just say those types of things. Sometimes those are easier to understand. But when we start to move towards the front of the head shape, a lot of times the hair will end up being very heavy in through here. So if you have, you know, shorter hair or a hairstyle just like this, you have to make sure that all this hair in through here is all connected. Now, if you look at this, you can see that the hair, you know, most hair doesn't go straight up this way. Sometimes you get that, but for the most part, the hair grows out from the head. It actually is level when you pull it out this way from the head. Now let's just go a little bit closer so you can actually see this because it's fairly interesting. So if you look here, you can look at the scalp right there. If you notice the hair, and this goes for every human being too, the hair does not grow straight up this way. But watch how the hair will level out to where it's pretty much even and flat from here. So the hair actually is growing out from the head, not up. So when you're getting your hair cut and it's not being layered properly, if you cut everything straight up this way, then yes, you'll leave this front bit longer here and it'll be great. But at the same time, you may be keeping this whole front area so heavy that that's why the hair doesn't have a nice flow. So I just took that little piece off, but guess what? This is still long. This is still long, but now I've created a perfectly balanced layered shape, which will continue back this way. So it will then flow much better. Now, when it comes to the haircut itself, I always cut hair in basically, there's 3 areas: the top, the corners, and the sides. I've said this so much over the years, so many times in my videos, the top, the corners, and the sides. You want to cut the top first, meaning right down the middle, or you could even call it like the mohawk section, right down the middle, okay? Then the corners, that's where the head rounds out naturally, which is this. And then the sides, which is literally the sides of the head. So I like to follow the pattern, and I cut hair so that it follows the head shape the best way. And there's round, square, and triangular shapes in hair cutting. I tend to follow more of a rounded, balanced shape, because if I'm gonna cut someone's hair and cut it very square, I'm gonna cut it up this way, and then I'm gonna leave that corner and cut it very square so it may lay very flat in through here. Now, there are some people who specifically, and I've heard this from like a handful of clients over the years, that specifically said, my haircut has to be cut square for my face, and I know it's gonna look best for me. Don't cut round, it has to be cut square. And I guess the handful, I'm talking like under 5 people, were so specific to that, and it really was hard for me to cut it that way because they wanted a square shape. They wanted it very flat in this corner here. So, you know, face shapes and layering and all that, it does play a part into the end result. But just if you have super thick hair, layering could be the answer for you, especially if you've got wavy hair or curly hair. Just keep in mind that anytime you layer your hair, you're removing weight, so that hair will want to spring up and be more full of life and more vibrant, which means it could end up being fuller and thicker looking, but more fuller, okay? It'll feel looser, but the hair will spring up. So it may enhance the curl, it may enhance the waves. If you have straight hair and you just don't know how to style it the right way and you get a bad layered haircut, you may start to see all sorts of wonky things happen. And if you're somebody who has had a really bad layered haircut to where your hair used to lay perfectly, but then the person who cut it ended up cutting it so badly that the layers were so short and unbalanced that you started to see all sorts of weird, wonky growth patterns and waves in your hair. Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced that, because I've seen that happen many times when I was doing patch-up jobs. Every time I'd see a client come in and I'm analyzing the hair, I'm like, oh boy, what the heck? I could just tell a crime scene. I'm like a hair detective. I could see a crime scene right there on the spot and know what the hell happened, all right? But we don't want any hair crime scenes. We want to make sure that the layered hair is going to be working for us. So, no layers, it's gonna lay its flattest. If you have someone who has super thick hair but does not want any movement, that you want your hair to be weighed down, it's too poofy, too thick, having a one-length haircut, meaning this all the way down for as long as you want it, and then slick it back. Don't complain that your hair is being weighed down when you don't want to get layers. You know what I mean? If you have thick hair. But layering will help remove a lot of that weight on any hairstyle. Again, layering is a technique. But I'm hoping that you found this video helpful. So this comb right here and these shears right here, these are the scissors that I sell on my website, shop.thesalonguy.com, and also these are what I use. These are the combs that I use, and also I have I've got a whole variety of tools on my website. This is my blow dryer right here, all right? I had invested in the ionic technology in this dryer. So it's ionic, actually helps save with drying time. It helps reduce, you know, damaging your hair from the heat. So, and it's fairly affordable. So, you know, definitely worth checking out. Use code YouTube20. That's YouTube20 at shop.thesalonguy.com, and you get 20% off. But just keep in mind, this dryer can only be purchased and used in the United States because of the wattage, right, and the voltage in this thing here. So do not buy it in the United States and then take it back home to Europe or Asia or somewhere else and try to use it, because it will cause issues. It can only be used in the United States, all right? So shop.thesalonguy.com, YouTube 20. Let me know if you found this video helpful and if you like videos like this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.